Welcome back to my YouTube channel, YouTube. As you know, there is so much going on in the world, in this country at this moment, and I feel it's only right to address the situations. I didn't join this platform for no reason. The reason why I joined YouTube was so that I could entertain, educate, and empower. And I feel like if I'm not talking about what is happening at the moment, am I just part of the problem, So let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is racism. Racism is when you treat someone differently just because of their skin color, because it's different to yours, or you make it your mission to make them feel like an outsider because of how they look. I want you to understand that we don't choose how we're born, but we accept it wholeheartedly. And I'm proud to be a Black woman. I am proud to be able to speak on topics that matter. Do you know what I mean? I think that it is definitely unfair to be treated differently just because of my race or my gender. I remember when I was in creche, there was this, in the jungle gyms when you guys used to play around and have fun. I was friends with everyone. Whites, blacks, Indians, coloreds, we were all together, all as one. There was no issue. And for me, I never found an issue because we were all just people, girls and boys, playing. I think the only time race really affected how I saw the world was definitely later in life, like in grade 5 to 7, I used to notice people get special treatment, or we were treated a different way, but I never wanted to acknowledge it because I was like, okay, maybe that's just how she is. I would never say that it's a bigger problem than it is, because I don't like to make things a bigger problem, like make things a big problem. That's also why I've always been quiet. I've never been opinionated because it never felt like it needed to be said. Everything was just how it was. It seemed like that's how it was supposed to be. But as time goes, I keep seeing that there are so many cases where people are treated differently because of their race. And it just frustrates me because it's like, okay, what would happen if I was in that situation? It could happen to me. Simply because I'm a Black woman? Simply because I look different to someone else. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, when things like this are spoken about on a massive scale, it makes you wonder, it makes you think, it makes you question. And I feel like if you're not in a place where you're questioning what it is you do, how you impact life, what you bring to the world, are you just as bad as the rest? The racists, I definitely think this is a topic that a lot of people skirt around, we don't ever face it head on, simply because you're afraid of how you're gonna look in public or whatever. But at the same time, you have to choose where you stand as a human being. Do you think it's okay for someone to be killed just because of the fact that they have a different skin color to yours? I've seen so much injustice on my timeline over the past few days that it was like, whoa, it was too much. I had to take a break because I was like, this is honestly, it's sad that I have to see it, and there's only so much I can do. I can sign petitions, I can donate, I can share, spread awareness, but when is it gonna change? When are you gonna see me as a human being just like you? And if you're triggered by what I'm saying, you should change. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to express my frustration without having to resort to violence. I think that's why people are rioting. They are feeling like they're not being heard, they're not being seen. There's not enough being done to help them. Another thing that frustrates me is when I see those comments like, but what? Why is it okay to substantiate death due to a skin color, due to race? Like, it baffles me. It's like, So you're telling me it's okay for me to die because I look different, but not because of what is right and what is wrong. Were you taught that because she's black, she's always bad? That she is like how she is because of her race? No. You know, I've always wanted to choose to see humans as humans. So why can't you do the same for me? Why is it an issue that we have to continuously fight for? You know, we just want to be seen, want to be heard, and felt as though the system protects people like me. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are saying all lives matter. Yeah, it's true. All lives do matter. But why do we feel like our lives don't matter? That black lives don't matter? That is the question here. If you're saying all lives matter, why is it that we always have to fight that our lives matter? Are we not part of all lives matter? We are, but we have to pick out the fact that we're treated differently to the rest. Do you get that? If you don't understand that, then I don't know how else to help you, because it's simple. If my life as a black person doesn't matter, then how is it that all lives matter? How? Am I not part of the world? Am I not seen? Am I not heard? Am I not a human being? When it comes to gender-based violence, we tend to see the problem and say nothing. I think gender-based violence on all levels is inexcusable. I don't care if you are the CEO of what, if you're president of where, if you're just 5 years old and you think that you can treat someone differently because of their gender and impose violence on top of that, send me a DM so I can pray for you, because there's something wrong. There is honestly something wrong with your thinking. We definitely need to be able to go to the root of the problem. Ask ourselves why this is happening in our country. Why is it so high in this country? The people that are imposing this violence, do they feel like they're not being seen? That they're not being heard? If that's the case, speak up. You don't need to make a statement by violating a woman or a man. There is no need to go to violence based on someone's gender for you to feel like you're being seen and being heard. Yesterday, I was on the timeline of Twitter and everyone was posting their ages. And I was like, okay, what's going on? To find out that all the ages were when people had been sexually assaulted. I was gobsmacked. I could not believe what I was seeing. I was reading stories and how so many people from early on in their lives, and it happens, it becomes habitual behavior for people to treat them the way they did or do, you know? And it made me so emotional, because I was like, being black already is an issue. Then being a woman that is possibly can be violated in this country. It makes me fear, as like I just don't understand how and why people feel like it's okay to do that to people. I was distraught to find that even some of my friends had been in certain situations where they couldn't stand up for themselves, they couldn't fight back because someone felt it necessary to be in control of their bodies. And I couldn't have it. I couldn't handle it. I was confused. I started to question, is it how we educate boys in the system? Is it how we educate women? Is it fair that we must live in constant fear because we are of a certain gender? Because we live in this country that is known as, you know, this rainbow nation that accepts all. But here we are again, still within our own country, justifying that it is okay for someone to be violated just because of their gender. Make it make sense. We see the issue, you know? Those people that feel it okay to do what they do, you need to ask yourself, why is it that I am this way? You know, it is not normal to want to inflict pain on someone else. It's not at all. It is inexcusable. We need to ask ourselves how we can be the catalyst of change in society when it comes to gender-based violence, because in this country there is so much we can do to educate, and I feel like if this is not a topic being spoken about and taught at the homes, it's the biggest problem of them all. We need to be able to sit down and have a conversation, no matter how uncomfortable it will make us feel, but we need to be able to address the topic that threatens our society. Another issue we see that we have in South Africa is definitely xenophobia. I'm not saying that it happens every day, but it's something that has happened or still happens in parts of the country that is not reported. But it's that idea that it's okay, once again, to violate people because of their difference. What is the difference between you and someone in Africa? That we from different countries. We are the same. They're African just like you are. We're the same. We're one and the same. And if you're gonna treat someone differently because of where they're from, you're the problem. You are. Do you never question yourself and say, okay, why are foreigners in this country? Do you never want to know why? They come for a better life, better education. Everything that seems better from the outside is why they come here. And you make them once again feel like outsiders. You consistently make them question why they even came here. You know, we're advertised as this rainbow nation, you know, accepting of everyone. But here we are again differentiating just because of one small difference. The fact that they're from a different country, inexcusable. Do you understand that I am Black, a woman, and Congolese? Therefore, I fall victim to all three. People make jokes about it. We let it slide because it's like, okay, maybe it's just a joke. But there comes a time where it affects people way more than you can think. And I think that if we don't want to change, and if we're not going to change today, use our platforms to spark this change, to be part of the revolution that is happening, I don't know. It's not normal to inflict pain because of a difference in someone. Difference in race, difference in gender, difference in country or origin, place of origin. Like, it baffles me completely that we feel it's okay to be treated a certain way because of a difference. There's no way that everyone can be the same. If we were all the same, nothing would be interesting. I hope that in this video I have posed some thought-provoking questions, and I've made you think, made you question yourself, how you can be different, and expressed enough to make you want to change society, the world, your environment, your little community. I think if you're able to change 5 people, you can change 50. I need to use all my platforms to be able to express things that matter. And this life matters.